Hello, and welcome to Frantic and Wobbles. I'm Frantic.
And I'm Wobbles.
And we read the silliest fan fiction the internet has to offer. And today, for our 20 subscriber special, we are joined by guest Lanooski.
Yo.
Again.
For like the fifth time.
Has it really been that many?
Probably.
You're here a lot.
You're here a lot.
Yeah, I don't have much else to do.
And for our 20 subscriber special, we are going to do If a Fanfic Was a Movie and review a movie.
I'm wondering if anybody can guess what movie this is going to be.
Well, if you've read the title, you will know.
That's true. It's
We
going
got
to be
some
in
real
the title.
detectives in the viewer base.
We're expecting them to just click links without reading anything.
Yeah.
That it's Jupiter Ascending, a beautiful film by the Wachowskis.
Right away, I'm going to take credit for introducing this fucking mess to my two friends here. Because I saw it a few years back with a buddy of mine. We were hungry for some so bad it's good action. And all of the things that I ever heard about Jupiter Ascending were just that. Like, so weird and out there and strangely executed that you couldn't help but enjoy it along the way. And that's exactly what happened with us. And now, all these years later, I was able to reshare the magic, and it's very fanficky. Like, in hindsight, it was a perfect pick to be like the first movie you guys talked about on here.
Yeah.
I think so.
Yeah. And then, of course, you had Franny watch it. And then Franny forced me to watch it.
Yep.
Yeah.
And I'm still angry.
It kind of sounds like Franny and I enjoy it a little more than you do.
I won't say enraged, but I'm so annoyed. There are so many problems.
No,
And that's what we're going to talk about today. Are you excited?
Yes, I'm excited.
Good, you should be. So, our movie stars Mila Kunis
And Channing Tatum.
and Channing Tatum, who shows up a little bit later.
And
Sean Bean.
Sean Bean or Sean Bon.
Sean Bon.
It's either Sean Bean or Sean Bon. He can't have it both ways.
Can't have it both ways.
Also,
I can never say his name. 'cause I'm
Mr.
so confused.
MVP himself, Eddie Redmayne.
Oh my god. Who sounds like he needs a cough drop the entire movie.
Until he doesn't.
Until he screams, and then you realize why he sounds like he needs the cough drop.
All
And
right.
that's all his dialogue. It's either whispering so that you can barely hear him,
Or screaming.
or screaming very angrily, and it's very scary.
I'm on the cusp of owning what is rightfully mine.
I feel really bad for anyone who's wearing headphones.
I'm so sorry.
I feel bad for you having to edit that later.
Yeah. So it opens with the story of Jupiter's family's origins with her mother and her father. And her father was an astrophysicist, and her mother taught applied mathematics. They're from Russia.
Yeah, they are.
And they talk about naming the baby Jupiter. It's like a whole scene where,
It's a thing.
where he calls the baby their biggest planet.
He's like freaking talking to her belly. Like the whole time I'm thinking that she's like being called a planet by her husband, and I'm very confused as to why she's not like kicking him in the face.
My sweet Jupiter, your mama's so fat she's a goddamn planet.
But he's also like talking to her belly really weirdly. It was very off-putting. I didn't like it.
He was rubbing it with Vaseline.
Yeah.
From what I understand, that's common practice. Having had
Yeah, but
5
it was-
children myself.
It was very weird though. He like was like caressing like weirdly and like right up next to it with his face, and I'm like, stop.
You don't like pregnancy to begin with, though.
I don't. It weirds me out.
So then a big thing about the father is that he looks through telescopes, specifically a golden telescope, and that becomes Chekhov's gun, and we see it later.
It's a thing.
It's a-
Chekhov's telescope.
Chekhov's telescope.
There we go.
And then there's a break-in in their house in Russia, and all their shit's stolen.
Wait, we need to talk about the line where he says something about miracles in the sky.
I have no idea what you're talking about.
Yeah, it
He
obviously
says-
didn't
He
bug
says
us
something
quite as
about
much.
stars or miracles or whatever.
Well, what
And
is a star?
It
but
bothered me because I'm like, you freaking educated. You know that this is science.
I just popped in this critically acclaimed documentary about space, Jupiter Ascending, and really wanted more. But what we can talk about is how fucking abruptly the break-in and eventual murder of her father is.
Yeah.
Within the span of like 2 minutes, we go from like calm, serene familial bonding to just go get you my That was a
Calm and
gunshot.
serene for some, creepy and off-putting to others.
Hey, when I want to relax, I watch David Lynch. That tells you everything you need to know about me.
I love David Lynch.
He's great. So the mother flees to America with her sister after her.
Who they don't specify as her sister for a while, so I like kept thinking that was her mom, but
Yeah,
for
I
some
thought
reason
that
her
was
mom
grandma.
was a different person,
It's her aunt.
Yeah.
but it was her aunt. And I'm like, okay, thanks for not telling me who that is.
And so they're illegally immigrating to America, which is why they're in shipping crates. So then Jupiter is born in a shipping crate.
Which is really weird. That scene is just weird. The scene is weird.
Yeah.
The like zoom into it is really weird too.
What's off-putting for me is how she gives birth into like a metal tub of some kind while standing.
That was something you were like, why is she standing?
Yeah, I was wondering why she was standing.
But that's like a thing. That's like how people used
Gravity
to do
birth.
it.
yeah.
It's like when bananas are stripped of their peel on their own, but with a baby.
It reminds me of when giraffes give birth, where they just like shoot the baby out their asshole onto the ground.
I think first of all, there are a lot of animals that birth the way that giraffes do.
Their asshole.
Also, I think you need to take some sort of class on how babies are produced and born.
Babies come
because-
from butt swabs. This is science.
No!
You claim to be a man of science.
No, but if babies came from buttholes, then couldn't men have them too?
No, because they don't have
Men don't
ovaries.
have buttholes?
They don't have ovaries. They have underees.
They've danglies.
Yeah. This is foul. We apologize. Well, I apologize.
No, I don't. So then, they clean houses.
They do.
They are
They scrub toilets and all that.
They meet up with their family, who they never address as also being family.
They're just like
until-
random people that they live with until like they start calling each other cousin or whatever.
Yeah, so like they are apparently family, and they like have like a house cleaning business with like each sub family cleaning houses.
But she's always dressed really cute with like makeup and everything.
yeah,
To like clean houses, which doesn't make any sense because anybody who's done any kind of housework will tell you that's not what you dress
Wear.
like.
Yeah, but she cleans for the bourgeois. She's got penthouse friends who have like money and dresses and date fucking representatives or whoever rando.
he was like the 8th most rich bachelor or
Then
something.
why don't
we get there?
Why don't her mother and aunt ever put on makeup or dress pretty? It's
Jupiter.
just her.
You must wear makeup. There was a whole scene.
Must be pretty at all times.
Yeah.
So then they transition to a dead planet, which has like blue stone sand.
Glitter dust.
And it's like these two people, and you don't know who they
Stripper
are.
planet.
The stripper planet. It's just glitter on the floor.
Glitter everywhere.
And they talk about harvesting, which they don't explain for a while.
And this is when Eddie Redmayne shows up.
Yeah.
And I'm very distracted by the fact that he looks super old and is talking like he doesn't know how to talk anymore.
And then you have like a girl who looks to be in her like 40s, and then you have a young guy.
And it's very confusing because they're like talking to each other like they're siblings because they are siblings.
But you don't know that they're siblings.
Don't they talk? Is that when it's revealed that they're siblings?
Oh, or do they reveal
They
that
they
then?
might have revealed
I don't
it in
know.
the
You told
dialogue.
me.
I was too distracted by how fucking weirdly edited that whole scene was. They
Yeah,
keep
I
going
was-
from like medium shots to wides, then back to medium. There's like motion when there doesn't need to be. It's like, who are these people? What the fuck is happening?
I was just really distracted by Eddie Redmayne and like the age weirdness. You told me that they were siblings.
Yeah.
So that's when I found out they were siblings.
Yeah, so
They do go over it later, in
They
fairness.
do. And then they talk about how Eddie Redmayne, I don't know his actual character's name, so I will refer to him as Eddie Redmayne for the rest of this podcast.
Nobody
Edmius
remembers any of the names.
Redmanius.
And so Eddie's character owns the earth. Like they reference that, and how the youngest sibling, whose name is Titus, want to own the earth. And they're like, ha ha ha, your share is worth less than the earth by itself. So he's like, well, fuck. And that's the interaction. And then they
I'm
go
gonna
back
go
to
have an
Jupiter
orgy
cleaning
in
houses.
a giant bubble.
As one does.
The orgy scene.
The orgy bubble.
So then it transitions to Jupiter saying, I hate my life over and over and over and over again, like 5 times.
Because it's really funny somehow.
And she's like cleaning houses still. Oh, then Channing Tatum shows up.
Oh yeah, is he wearing a shirt at this point? Because
Yeah, he is.
he spends 80% of his screen time shirtless.
Correct.
No, he's wearing a shirt and a coat at this point.
Oh, he's double layered. Oh my goodness.
the way you softballed Channing Tatum shows up. It skims over the fact that with no warning, this motherfucker starts Shadow the Hedgehog hoverbooting his way through the cityscape.
Well, no. So what happens is you zoom in to this girl who's sitting like a gargoyle.
She freaking looks like a gargoyle sitting on like a freaking
building
terrace or something.
And she is sitting there with Blue Man, because he's literally blue.
Yeah. Which one is where does Mad Eye Moody show up? Is he there
shows
too?
up later at the bee house.
Are you sure?
Yeah, Mad Eye Moody's later at the bee house.
Okay, fine.
And then they're like stalking this fertility clinic, and then randomly this portal opens through this wall, and Channing Tatum walks through and goes into the fertility clinic to then reveal he can sniff the file, and like
This is really weird. It's so off-putting.
it's really creepy.
They never do that again.
Yeah, they never do the weird
They never
scent.
reference that he can like smell things.
And like
I learned all of calculus just now.
so like he smells the file of Charlotte, I forget what the lady's name is, Delavine or whatever, that the fake name for Mila Kunis, but you don't actually know that that's the fake name of Mila Kunis's character for a little while.
Yeah, they like don't tell you.
They don't explain anything. And so he then gets in a fight with Gargoyle Chick and Blue Guy and
Blue Man Group.
the Blue Man Group.
No drums.
Oh.
And I just want to point out that the sound design for the blasters sounds like a fucked up duck noise.
It's like Galaga fucks all kinds of goose creatures.
Yeah, it's like
It's like they didn't want to use the classic like pew pew.
Yeah, like I give this movie points for trying to be like innovative and unique, and
But-
there are moments throughout it where it has like character to it that I admire. There is a line, and it crosses it quite a few times in different aspects of production.
Yes.
yeah. And this one, it sounds like ducks.
Mhm.
And then I have written here hover boots.
Hover boots.
The hover boots.
I have written kids roller shoes.
Remember the 90s?
Yeah, you know, those little like roller shoes.
So like Channing Tatum can like fly around with this like really skinny shield that Wobbles hates.
I hate it. It's not wide enough. If you're gonna have a transparent shield, why does it not cover more area? Because you don't have to worry about seeing
You're
around
just
it.
spoiled by Cap's shield from the Avengers saga, which is fat and bootylicious. But this
I-
one can be trim.
I don't know much about that because I don't watch superhero movies. So
You only watch good shit like Jupiter Ascending.
I only watch movies that my friends force me to watch. Therefore,
Valid.
So, and then he flies around on his hover boots that he like had to build up momentum for
for some reason,
in this scene, and then he never has to do it again.
never again.
It's like a car battery. The best way to get power for it is to keep going.
He had to jump start it,
Yeah.
So
and then never jump started them ever again.
It looks like he's doing, you know those scenes in video games where like it's like a rail and you have to like skate on the rail?
Yeah, Sonic the Hedgehog.
Yeah,
It's like that, but hover shoes.
like the Tony Hawk games.
Yeah.
that too.
Oh, those were
There
good.
is a whole lot of like uber cool involved with how he moves around whenever he uses them.
Okay, you say uber cool.
No, no.
I think he looks like he's trying to ski sometimes.
No, like that's what I mean.
Sometimes he's like squatting weirdly.
When I say it's super cool, it's like fucking how do we appeal to people who watch the X Games?
Yeah, so he's like skiing
He tries.
on his little hover shoes.
Most of the time, he just looks a little awkward and like he doesn't know what he's doing.
When there's an action scene, like if there's fighting involved, they do manage to get like some pretty smooth maneuvers out of him. Like he's
Yeah.
kind of like strafing and using the momentum of the walls and stuff to kill his
Yeah, but
opponents.
if he's just when he's just flying around, it's like he doesn't know. Like he starts doing this
He's making it up as he
nonsense with
goes,
his arms,
like
and
he's
I'm
using
like-
them for the first time.
I'm like, are you trying to fly
Yeah.
with your chicken wings?
Yeah, so like you know these people did the Matrix, so there's gonna be like parts of the action that work.
And parts that are like
Correct.
And then it cuts to Eddie Redmayne naked.
Oh yeah, that was weird.
It's my kind of movie.
Because I literally just have a note that says, "Why is Eddie Redmayne naked?"
Addendum. Why isn't he naked in every scene?
God, I hope not. Not that he's not a bad-looking dudo. I just don't feel like staring at his ass.
Would you please stop looking at my genitalia?
So
If you put it away, we would.
and then the dragons show up, and I love them. The dragons are great.
I can't decide if they're like actual dragons or if like somebody was like, let's give crocodiles wings.
And then he announces that he wants Katherine. It's Katherine Dunlevy is the name that was on the file. That
Why'd you call her Charlotte a minute ago?
Because I decided her name was Charlotte Tilbury, which is a makeup artist.
Charlotte Tilbury.
That's not her name.
She's the Tilbury Dough girl.
But Eddie announces that he wants Charlotte Dunlevy dead, which is the name on the file that Channing Tatum sniffed.
But it's also confusing to us because we don't know who that is.
Yeah, we're like, who the fuck is Charlotte Dunlevy?
Right? Because we know that Jupiter's name is
Katherine
Jupiter.
Dunlevy. It's Katherine. I want to call her Charlotte.
You did it
so
again.
bad. I want to.
Charlotte Dunlevy.
No.
So then the aliens come.
Was it the little weird little guys?
Yeah, the weird dudes.
I don't like them.
They're cool.
They remind me of like, what were they called? The worms from Men in Black?
Yeah. Oh yeah.
You be nice to the worms.
I love those little guys. I don't like these little guys.
Oh,
They're freaky.
gotcha. Because they're little green men.
No,
If
they're like
were-
mean. I like the worms because they're funny.
Yeah, valid.
But like,
These guys were funny when they like tried to probe women by suspending them in midair and doing stuff to them while they're naked.
And turning them around in midair, like really awkwardly.
Yeah.
Well, like, so you coded.
She spent half that scene just like staring at the ground because she's floating above the air. I was like, this is
Well, that's a different
awkward.
scene.
I
We're
know.
still at Catherine's house. So Katherine is naked. Well, mostly naked. She's wearing a bra and panties, but she's mostly naked. And
You wanted her to be naked, let's
I
be
did.
honest here.
Fuck yeah, let's do it. So we don't know who she is at all. It's just this blonde chick. And they never introduce her character at
No.
all. But she and Mila Kunis are having a conversation about what she should wear to her date because she thinks she's gonna get proposed to.
Oh yeah, she was like super shallow and like weird about it too.
Yeah.
And I like hated her immediately.
Yeah, her.
Yeah.
And then Mila Kunis goes, oh, you should wear this dress, and like walks into her closet. And when she does, Katherine is like suspended in midair by these like alien creatures who like stab a syringe into her neck and it turns orange, and they never explain what that means.
Nope.
I think it's the Men in Black wiper equivalent.
No, not that.
Oh.
That's them testing her genetic code to see.
Yeah, I think they were trying.
Oh.
I think they were trying to figure out if she was Catherine,
If she was her.
and then she wasn't. So they were like, "Oh, never mind. Erase that from everybody's memory."
Yeah, and then they attack, and Mila Kunis took a picture of it before they could wipe her memory, so she found that picture on her phone later and was really confused.
Which is weird because like they never really address. Like she doesn't do anything with the photo. She just looks at it and goes, "That's weird." Like,
And then moves on.
and then moves on.
we zoom back out to family dinner, where all of the house cleaning people are eating together.
All of the house cleaning people.
all of them. They're all related.
That's it. That's what every single one of them does because that's what all illegal immigrant Russians do.
I want to just, because I'm dyslexic, I want to read this sentence to you as I wrote it.
Oh no. Oh no. Is this a callback to my immortal days?
I can't read, can't write. Men do not live, smart women.
I don't think that was the quote.
It's men do not like smart women.
But they don't live them either.
They don't live them either. So then they discuss money and how Jupiter wants an advance on her.
This is also when I figure out that the woman who I thought was her mom is actually her aunt.
Yeah.
And I was mad.
You were convinced they just got a new actress part of the way through the movie.
Right? I was like, why did her mom change actresses from Russia to America? That doesn't make any sense.
She just got older.
She wasn't even older. She was just completely different.
But no, that was her aunt.
It was her aunt.
So then they say no to that. And then it goes to
Continue.
this guy that they don't know is her cousin until later. where they're talking about egg harvesting and how she's going to get 15 grand for her eggs.
She can't get an advance on her pay.
Right. So she's getting 5 grand while he's getting 10 grand. And she's like, why is that happening? And he goes, because money flows up, or whatever the fuck he says.
Wait. Okay, so I missed that dialogue. So why is it that he's getting 10 and she's getting 5?
Because it was his idea.
Also, do they really pay that much? Because whenever I hear about it, it's like you can get the maximum is like 8.
I think you can get more depending on the clinic.
Maybe.
Because I've heard as much as 20.
Really?
Yeah. So then she's bidding on a telescope, and that's what she's gonna use her 5 grand for.
Yeah, that's what she wanted the money for. That's right.
So Chekhov's telescope. And then she goes to the fertility clinic, and they put her under so that they can harvest her eggs. But surprise, the medical staff are aliens. The aliens are back.
The weird little aliens that somehow disguised themselves as like the normal staff.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know why they would like wear those costumes and like be staff and then like tear them off and be like weird little monsters. Why didn't they just like leave their costumes on until they were done what they were doing and not like freak her out that much?
Well, they did leave the costumes on and freaked her out because they wrapped the special wristbands around her ankles and wrists, and she floated in the air and she was really confused, and they only turned back into their regularness when Channing Tatum came in and started shooting them.
Are you sure?
Yes.
I feel like they did before that.
I've seen that scene twice.
Okay.
Yes.
All right, I'll take your word for it.
And then, so they fight. So Channing Tatum fights them.
Is this one of those like really long fight scenes?
It's not super long.
Yeah.
The one after it is really long.
Yeah.
Is so long. Oh my god, the fight scenes in this are so long.
I feel like if you cut out like half of the fight scenes,
The movie would be so much shorter.
it'd be like an hour long.
His name is Kane, by the way. Channing Tatum's character. I actually refer to him by his name.
Because they say it enough for us to remember what it was.
Yeah.
Like, it's a pretty distinct name, too. I think it fits the character pretty well, TBH.
Kane Wise.
The Wise part, like, catches me off guard, though. They're like, Wise is there. I'm like, oh, the grocery store.
Wise.
So then we go to the ship with Titus, and he's in his floating orgy bubble.
The orgy bubble!
So he's like super excited that Mr. Wise has found the girl, and then they zoom back over to Kane talking to Mila Kunis, who wakes up. Anyway, so she finds out there are other species and
Other species
planets.
of what? Oh,
Other
like,
planets.
You mean aliens?
Yeah, those.
Other
And that,
species.
and that the aliens that are trying to kill her are keepers, and that Kane is a lichen person.
Which I was wondering why he looked like a dog the whole time.
Because he was a dog.
And then they were like, he's a dog.
And you're like, oh! So they call him a splice, and he was made for the military.
He's literally a dog of the military.
Literally.
I hate that. I hate it. I hate it. I'm so mad at this movie for so many reasons.
And then, so he explains, like, the hover boots and, like, how the hover boots work. And how
Differential equations.
they try to get on a ship to go see Titus. And then as they're getting beamed up onto the ship,
Beam me up, Scotty.
Eddie Redmayne's character shuts down so that nobody can leave the Earth. So the ship blows up while they're in the air. So then they fall, and she ragdolls because she does that a lot.
She makes the weirdest ragdoll. She looks silly.
She does. She just ragdolls everywhere. The world's longest fight scene occurs.
Which starts out with him like destroying a train.
Yep. So he's like flying around trying to get away from the Seekers, which are Eddie Redmayne's retrieval system.
It's the Blue Man Group.
No.
Blue dude and the gargoyle lady.
Oh yeah, she's also. They work for the sister.
Oh, okay.
And then the Seekers.
Are those
Keepers.
little alien dudes?
The Keepers are the little alien dudes.
Okay.
And they work for Eddie Redmayne.
Okay.
And then Mr. Wise works for Titus.
Yes.
I don't remember the sister's name. I have no idea.
Marion.
But she's the sister.
It's just a shallow lady. I don't know.
The sister. So they're like try to figure out what to do, and like they have the world's longest fight scene where they blow up most of New York.
Yeah.
They just like destroy it.
Like with no thought to the life in these buildings.
No, they killed so many
so
people.
many people.
That's all good. They covered it up. They hit Control Z after the battle was over.
Immediately after the fight scene, you see the clinic scene again.
Oh yeah, because
Yeah.
aren't they like she's like recapping what happened or
Well,
something?
yeah.
He's watching it. Eddie Redmayne's watching
Oh,
it.
that's right. He's watching it, so then we just get like the whole thing over again.
We're like, I just saw this.
I like the mechanics of that scene though, because he's got like this little bedidly-do he puts like under his earlobe. Like
Diddly do.
it's like, but what confuses me is, does it make it so he's the only one who can see the projection, or can everyone else in the room that was with him also see it? Like, it's very strange.
Yeah, you have no
Right?
idea.
Very weird tech.
Very weird tech, yeah.
Oh, then they steal a car. Mila Kunis and Kane steal a car. And she goes, and he's bleeding. She goes, luckily a woman owns this car.
Oh, that's right.
And then fucking proceeds to put it sticky side down.
Sticky side down, not absorbent side down, which would make sense. She should have lifted his shirt or whatever that thing was that he was wearing. Put the sticky side on the shirt, and then it would have like stuck, and then the absorbent side on the blood.
Yeah, but no, that's not how she did it.
Nope, sticky side.
Sticky side down, like any woman would do.
You know,
All right, so she starts to fall in love with Kane after knowing him for about 10 minutes.
weird. It's because he's hot and doesn't wear a shirt half the time.
And he takes her to Sean Bean.
Sean Bon.
Scene Bean.
Scene Bean.
And there are so many bees.
There are so many bees.
So many bees.
What is happening with all the bees?
So many
Why
bees.
does he have bees in his house? On his house.
Just so many bees.
His house is just a giant beehive.
Yeah,
It's weird.
it's bees. So then they open the door and Sean Bean immediately punches Kane in the
And
face.
there's a weird like slow-mo like
Oh yeah, they slow-mo random sections of that fight scene.
there's only one weird slow-mo.
Oh, is there
There's
only
just
the
one weird slow-mo punch and the rest of it is
normal speed?
which is dumb.
That's stupid. And then he says so then the bees start harassing Mila Kunis,
Mm-hmm.
but not in a
No,
what?
there's something about the wings, people having wings. I was mad about the wing thing. I made an angry note about the wing comment.
All right.
Okay, tell us about the wings, Wobbles.
He says something
You pissed
about
off the kitty.
because remember he takes off his shirt
Uh-huh.
because the blood thing. So he
Uh-huh.
takes off his shirt and she sees where his wings were. And then I make the angry comment about how like if people are gonna have wings, the whole bone structure of their body has to change to support wings.
Yeah.
And they're just weird little dots in the middle
But
of
the
his
bee
back for no
thing
reason.
happens first.
No, it doesn't.
Yes, it does.
No, it doesn't.
Yes, it does.
No, it doesn't.
Yes, it does.
It doesn't.
Yes, it does.
No, it does not.
Yes, it does.
No, it doesn't.
Audience, do you think it does or do you think it doesn't? I can't contribute because I already forgot what they were arguing about.
If the bee
'Cause this was-
line or the wings happen first.
It doesn't matter what happened first. Just talk about the fucking movie. You can't fucking review every plot point because it doesn't.
We broke Lanooski.
Fuck,
know.
man, where's my beer?
Okay, anyway, so yes, wings. They need to be redesign their bone structure, but they explain that away with like military grade prosthesis.
Which still doesn't make any sense because what are they attached to?
The power of positivity.
You just have to.
Which Lanooski does not have at this moment.
Lanooski's mad at us.
This is why I drink.
So mad at us.
Okay, then the bee thing happens.
Yeah.
The bees attack Mila Kunis,
Yeah.
but they don't actually attack her. And then they have the single best line in the entire movie,
Which is?
which is bees are genetically designed to recognize royalty.
Which is stupid because royalty is a human construct and bees are freaking bees.
No, but
they don't understand that.
but Queen Bee.
No, that's just
but
No.
Queen Bee
is a term we use to describe.
No, they
the-
describe themselves that way.
No, they don't. They're bees.
They call her mommy because she is, and they
No.
bring her daily Mother's Day gifts.
I don't think that's what they call her.
I
don't
asked
think
them.
they.
That's what they said.
I don't think they speak. They're bees.
It stays in. We're not
So
friends
then
anymore.
they explain that how the human race happens, where like other humans from other planets.
How the human race happens.
Yeah, humans from other planets seed planets full of humans. So like you stick a bunch of humans and you go good luck, and you make a planet.
Go forth and multiply.
Yeah, pretty much. Like,
Yeah.
So that's what happens.
I kind of want to know what that process was like.
At least it kind of explains away religion.
Yeah, but what about evolution? Like, how does evolution play into
What
that?
about evolution?
What does evolution play into that? Did they plant us as, like, apes?
No, they probably planted us as humans.
So then the whole ape thing is just, like,
A lie.
it's just a lie.
Yeah.
So, like, creationism, except not the way we thought.
Yeah.
Oh, good.
Fun.
There's a lot of, like, I don't know, there's a lone wolf nonsense.
Yep, I just
Moment.
got there. Yeah.
Yep.
So he explains that Cain is a lichen type without a pack, so it's the lone wolf plot point.
Which is dumb, because lone wolves don't exist in nature, because they die.
I hate you both so fucking
And that he was like booted out of the military because he attacked a Untitled and like killed him by like ripping his throat out with his teeth.
Oh, yeah.
We've all been there.
Like, why? He's not actually a dog. He's just got dog qualities.
So then there's a big old fight scene at the bean house.
Did you say bean house?
Yeah.
You know, no, but it's not even just the bean house. It's the bean house, like, B in quotations, N. The bee house.
Wait, is it actually called a bean house?
No,
That's
I
what we're
literally
calling
just
it.
called it the bean house.
Okay.
Because Sean Bean.
Because Sean Bean.
Oh, okay.
And then also bees. So bee.
All right. Okay, so we made a bunch of
house.
jokes at the same time, just not particularly well, because I don't know how humor works.
Yeah, you know.
Yes.
All right.
And then Mila is a ragdoll in distress.
Yep, again.
And then there was like a whole group of new hunters with the other hunters. So that's where Mad Eye Moody comes in with his supersonic gun. The Seekers and the hunters, and the hunters all work together to try to catch Mila Kunis.
Yes.
And they do catch her at one point. Then the hunters betray the other hunters. So the gargoyle lady and the blue guy shoot everybody else and steal Mila Kunis away.
Just mine now.
And then they fly away, leaving a crop circle.
Oh yeah, that's like weird. Just a weird detail to leave in there.
I know. And then they make the "how'd I change into these clothes" joke again.
Yeah.
They make that joke like 4 times in this movie.
Right.
But she explains the Abraxas family fortune
Mm-hmm.
and how Mila Kunis is genetically identical to their mother.
Yes.
And that's why she's entitled to the Abraxas family fortune.
Which doesn't make any sense.
No.
Doesn't make any sense.
But that's just how this world works. So you just have to accept it and move on, Wobbles.
But it's dumb.
It doesn't matter.
It's dumb.
And then
I'm so thankful that Wobbles exists because you get to experience what dating you was for the first 3 years watching movies with you.
Dumb.
So then
Nobody knows how genetics works.
Mommy, daddy, equal baby.
No, deeper than that.
Am
okay?
geneticist.
No.
Am.
No.
like I understand that that's not how genetics works, but you know what? Probability being probability is
They are
fine.
all.
Gravity boots and bee queens, Wobbs.
No, these people are supposed to be millennia old, and none of them bothered to learn that having the same genetic code does not make you the same person.
Who are you to assume that their rules are the same on the other side of the galaxy?
They're still people.
That's debatable with Eddie.
Eddie Redmayne is a treasure. You
I
shut
have
your,
no genetics!
you shut your face.
So then she gets into this pool, which then turns her young. So she goes from like 40 to 20.
The fountain of youth.
The-
I think she was like 50 or 60. She was not 40.
Mila Kunis specifically says she's in her 40s.
Really?
Yes.
They don't know what a 40-year-old looks like then.
No.
She had like liver spots forming.
Oh, well, no, she was 40.
And she smelled funny.
I can smell her through the screen.
So
She had the old lady scent.
then she gets out of the pool and she explains that the magic pool rewinds your clock back to your genetic like perfection, like your perfect your like ideal body or whatever.
What happens if you peaked at like 7?
Whoops.
Like, I don't know.
So then not only do they use the world's most incredible dryer to
It's
dry her
beautiful.
off.
I love it.
I want one.
It looks like they just like scan her with an LED light and suddenly she's dry. It's beautiful.
And she explains that the only resource that you can use that is killed for in this universe is time.
I don't know if that's. I don't think she says that's the only one.
Well, that's the only one anyone gives a shit about.
That's the most valuable resource.
Yeah, is time.
Yeah.
Which is why the Abraxas family has so much fucking money.
Yes.
Then Channing Tatum runs around shirtless and has like a silly fight scene inside the palace to then appear in front of the sister and Mila Kunis.
Yeah. It was. Yeah. I don't think. Does he ever put a shirt on?
No, he's still shirtless this whole time.
Well, I know, but like after he's taken his shirt off at the bean house.
Yeah, when they get to the Legionnaire ship,
He finally gets a
he
shirt.
has a shirt.
And then he rips it off almost immediately.
No, he wears a shirt the rest of the movie.
Does he?
Yeah.
Okay, well, he spends a lot of the movie shirtless.
Well, he wears a shirt the rest of the movie from this point, from after he gets on the Legionnaire ship.
Are you sure?
Yes.
Color saturation in this movie is also weird.
I fucking concur. There are moments throughout this movie where the whites in Mila Kunis's eyes are aggressively fucking blue.
Right?
Meanwhile, in like later shots, they kind of correct it. So either they just fucked up the color paletting and like, you know, the grade, or there was some kind of like underlying subconscious narrative thread where the blue represents her being blind to the larger world that she actually lives in. And then when she embraces her role in the universe, it goes back to being normal white.
I think you're just reading too much into this.
I am too.
I think they just don't know how to like
I think whoever
make color saturation like consistent.
I think whoever graded that movie just had an oopsie with. What it is because like her skin is like really rich and orange in those scenes, and the way you grade orange and blue are really linked to each other, so they like oversaturated the orange on her to make her look luscious, and you could eat her up.
Luscious.
And
delicious.
I was like rubbing my nips while I said that. I just want the audience to know.
He was caressing his own body.
But yeah, once you do that, it brings out the blues in the whites, but it's okay. It's the Wachowskis. They made Matrix. It was very green, and they made that look really cool.
So this one they just like tried to make really blue and then they gave up on it.
Yes.
So then they end up on a Legionnaire ship, which is like the military. They end up on a military ship, and she makes another joke about putting on clothes.
How'd she get in these clothes?
No, it's not how'd she get in these clothes. It's I would like to put on clothes while I'm awake and conscious.
Oh, that's right.
And of my own volition.
Yeah. Because that would have been what, the third time?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
So then she hits on Kane.
Again.
And Kane's like, no. And she goes, but yeah. And he goes, no. And then...
He has to turn her down a lot.
He does.
She's really thirsty.
She's very thirsty for Kane.
I think she's just thirsty in general, and Kane just happens to be there and
That's
hot.
when the I love dogs, I've always loved dogs line is said.
Is it?
Yeah.
Yes.
That's terrible.
I love dogs. I've always loved dogs.
Ugh.
And then they end up at the intergalactic version of the DMV.
Oh, that's right. With the weird, like, dramatic music for the DMV.
whole thing.
It's terrible. As they're going through, like, bureaucratic nonsense.
Yeah. And then they have to bribe their way for her to ascend to get her title.
Right. They go through all this nonsense, and then he's just like, how much do I pay you? Like, I'm done.
And then they go to the awesome old guy who's the one who like does the
basement man.
The one who does the tattoo.
Basement man.
He's the best. He's
Creepy
the best
basement
part of the
man
whole
is
movie.
the best character.
He is the only good part of this movie. And he just laughs and he goes, "Congratulations, and also my deepest condolences."
And then goes back to like muttering to himself while
And
he's
laughing.
looking at stuff.
Yeah, he's great. And then she hits on Kane some more.
Yep.
And then she asks Kane why he keeps sticking around. He wants to get back in the Legion, which is the military.
Mm-hmm.
And so he makes that as an excuse as to why he's sticking around, even though it's because he loves her too.
Shocks nobody.
And then they get betrayed by Sean Bean.
Sean Bond.
And then they end up at Titus's house. She gets a new outfit.
Which is really ridiculous, and her hairdo is doing something crazy.
He explains that the magic stuff that rewinds time in your body is made of people.
Is made of people. And I feel like it took her a long time to catch on to that. Like, they had to outright tell her when, like, the rest of the movie they'd been hinting at it, and she just never, like, picked up on it.
Yeah, so it's made of people.
Because, like, the sister practically told her that, and she was just like, yeah, that's nice. Like, she had no idea what she was telling her.
So then she realizes it's made of people because she's retarded.
And then
didn't
drops the
realize it.
vial and, like,
Now wasted 100 people.
wasted 100 people's lives,
And
and then has, like, a crisis
Might
about
I
that.
add, there's so many frozen sperm jokes one could make while watching this scene.
True.
And then Titus like says a bunch of pretty stuff to her to make her believe that he's like the one good Abraxas child.
And that he actually wants good things for the earth and the people and all that.
And he wants her to be in control of his assets when he dies, so he offers to marry her.
He, like, legit proposes to her, like, in the middle of her breakdown. And stupid.
And she's like really confused, and she's like, I don't know. I don't know. And then Kane leaves, so then she's
Also-
like, okay, maybe.
He's been talking to her.
Morty!
Like, he's been talking to her like she's his mother this whole time, and then he, like, proposes to her, and that's super creepy to me. Ugh.
Oh, wait, no, Kane, the reason Kane doesn't come back and why she agrees is because Kane is thrown out of the airlock.
That's right. Oh god, that annoyed me so much. He, like, freaking just holds his breath like that's gonna protect him from the vacuum of space and floats out into space far away before he gets to the little thing that activates the stupid, like, shield or whatever. But yeah, he's just, like, floating through space, just like, I'm gonna hold my breath, and that's gonna protect me from death in space.
And then the best cut in the movie happens.
Yes.
Where he is floating in space, a ship appears in the background, and then they cut to him in the ship.
Yup.
The best cut in the whole movie happened.
Dumb.
They, for some reason, zoom back to Jupiter's family arguing on Earth.
Yep.
And the best line of, your cousin is not a chicken!
Right. Don't treat family like chicken.
So then the dragon race shows up and kidnaps all of Jupiter's family. So, you know, they're working with Eddie Redmayne.
Which is really funny because, like, they just smash into the house in the middle of this argument and everybody's like, oh my god, dragons.
And then they steal them.
Oh no. And there was that line where the one, like, freaking, like, smells her mother weirdly and goes, this one's the mother.
Be careful with this one.
Ugh.
And then, so then Jupiter's marrying Titus, and Sean Bean and Kane team up and decide they're gonna save her. And,
Even though, why are we trusting Sean Bond when he, like, already...
well, because he asked him that series of questions, like, you got any money problems? Are we good? And he's like, yeah, we're good. And he was like, cool, I trust him. And then, like, that's the end of that.
I actually really like that scene. It shows that their bromance is, like, stronger than any bureaucracy. Like, he just fucking knows. Yeah, he's fine. I smelled him. He checks out.
So then they get in these, like, mech suits and, like, crash through what's called warhammers, which is the force field of mech thingies. Yeah, they crash through the hull of the ship.
Crash
Yeah.
literally through from space into the wedding hall.
You got really mad about this.
I did.
I understand why, because there was a fucking draft. Like, you can't just do that in the middle of a wedding. That means a bunch of cold air is going to come in. Because when you open up windows in space, like, it's really cold in space.
You can't open. You can't. No. No. Everything within the ship would die. Everybody would die. Everything would be sucked out into space. Vacuum.
Maybe they have a force
They could... All right, unironically, they could have an airlock.
or a force field.
Yeah.
But
like,
they don't specify any
It's
of
okay.
that. And, like,
It's okay.
No, it bothers me.
So then
You can't just damage a ship like that and expect everything to be fine.
my favorite part is the fact that Mila Kunis realizes that Titus was lying, and Kane has to explain it to her anyway.
My favorite part is the fact that everybody except for Mila Kunis is wearing white on her wedding day. All the guests are wearing white, but she's in fucking red.
Well, she's in white and red.
Still. He's in red.
Yeah,
She's in white and red, and her hair piece is horrendous.
I love it.
It's super like off like to the one side, and I'm like, how is she not falling over? Because that thing's huge.
And then they somehow just let them leave.
Yeah, right. Yeah, he like crashes in and is like, I'm like, he does the whole like, you know, speak now or forever hold your peace, and he's like me, but like not literally, not literally, just figuratively. And then like you cut to them leaving in some other spaceship. They just let them leave.
They just let them leave.
You win, bye, you can take her.
And then they did.
And then they did. I'd like, what?
And then they move on to taking Jupiter home. She comes home to find that the Eddie Redmayne's like second in command is like chilling in her kitchen.
Yep.
With the dragon people.
Yep.
Just hanging.
Just, you know.
Waiting for her to come home.
Sitting
to
there.
realize her family has been kidnapped by Eddie Redmayne.
I wonder what they did in the time it took for them to actually get there. Like, what they do to pass the time? Did they just, like...
sit in her kitchen and talk
rummage
about the
through
day?
their fridge?
Right?
My favorite part is when Jupiter punches the one guy just right in the face.
Yeah. She's run out of fucks.
She's run out of fucks to give, so she just socks him one.
Right.
And then she has to go with them to Eddie Redmayne's ship to save her family. So she does. And they let...
Is it the ship or is this like the planet?
Oh, it's the planet.
Well, it's the ship to the planet.
Okay, there we go.
So they put her on the ship with the dragon people.
Yeah.
And then they let the Legion ship follow them.
Yeah.
But then they shut the doors on the planet and almost kill everyone on the Legion ship.
Yep.
Because they didn't want them to be on there to help Mila Kunis out.
They also don't specify what planet it is, but looks suspiciously like Jupiter.
Which is hilarious.
Which is
'cause
hilarious.
That's her name.
That's her name.
So she encounters Eddie Redmayne, and then he's like talking to her, and he's the only one who is not like, you're my mother. He's like, you're not my mother. And
At first. Then he switches to you're my mother, and we're like, no. You were our one hope.
You were our one hope. But you were wrong. We were wrong. So then he's like holding her family hostage, and is gonna like harvest her family if she doesn't give up her ascension to him. And she's about to do it, and then she decides not to, and is like, you can harm me and my family, but you won't harm the rest of the earth while it's in my name. So then she like smashes the tablet, and Eddie's like all pissed off, and then Kane like repeats the wedding crashing scene.
It's just the same thing again.
The
It's
pacing
just-
and the tension is identical to what they just did. Like we're running down the clock. He's in the spaceship. There's like a thing he has to fly through. There's like music swelling. It's an identical fucking sequence, except this time there's a climax, and the conclusion isn't just them being like, you lied to me? Yeah. Oh, well, we're just gonna fucking leave then.
Yeah, so instead, Kane like flies through.
There's an elephant dude like screaming.
The elephant dude!
Ganesh!
Ganesh!
He's the best.
I'm glad you pointed out to me that name is rooted in what, Hinduism?
Yeah.
Yeah, there's like a elephant god.
There's a Hindu god.
So like it wasn't just there. I mean, it was there for no reason, but it was like rooted in some like mythology, which is cute. I like
love
that.
it.
So then Kane like swoops in to save the day.
There's a lot of screaming.
There's so much screaming.
So much
he
screaming.
like appears underneath the floor where the family's being held unconscious, and he's like shooting people and doing his thing, and she's like breaking the tablet and yelling at Eddie Redmayne. And then because of how he crashed into the refinery that they're in, which is the planet, he like causes a chain reaction. The whole thing's gonna blow. So now they have to get her and her family out of there in time before
Right.
everything explodes.
And Kane gets in this like crazy fight with one of the dragon dudes.
which is actually pretty good.
It's pretty good, except it reminds me of that scene in Harry Potter when he's running away from the dragon. That like during
Goblet of Fire.
the Goblet of Fire, yeah, when he has to fight the dragon and the dragon like breaks free and then there's like the whole thing. But it bothered me that none of the people who made this movie considered wing design.
Yeah.
because there's no way this big, bulky, crocodile-looking thing is gonna fly on those flimsy little wings. No way.
Well, he
Next, you're gonna tell me that roller skates can't go through the sky.
They can't.
Oh. Well, there goes my weekend.
Mm-hmm.
So then he gets in a fight with them. Mila Kunis gets her family.
He starts.
safety.
Eddie Redmayne starts screaming about his mom again.
Yeah, and so then as she like tries to get her family in like a one spot to like for them to go to the ship, then Eddie Redmayne starts beating her with a pipe until they fall through the floor.
Again, as one does.
So then they fall through the floor and end up in this like weird tunnel where there's like a force that's pulling them down. It's like a weird force field thing.
Yeah.
And they're like off to the side, across from each other. And then they like somehow end up back together somehow as she like tries to figure out her way from falling into the bowels of the refinery back to where she was. She's like lost to shit and
She looks like a ragdoll again.
she like ragdolls around and like
There's a lot of scenes with Kane flying around with his boots that makes him look really not cool.
right.
No, he looks lay epic.
No.
I would want him as unlockable character in Underwatch.
No.
We get,
Underwatch.
Yeah.
we get to my least favorite part of the entire thing.
Which is?
The ladder.
Oh my god, the ladder.
Wow. In a movie packed with bees and not science, it's the ladder that got Frantic.
I'm so upset about this ladder.
You're really upset about the ladder. I'm very upset about wing structure, so, you know.
And I'm really upset there isn't a sequel.
Oh, well, that too. I would love a sequel.
I would not. If you made me sit here and watch a sequel to this movie, I would have to kill both of you.
So this ladder, I just want to explain my issue with this ladder. Since Wobbles is allowed to rant about wings, let me rant about this ladder. So,
Oh, and don't worry, I'm going to rant about wings again in a minute, too.
so this ladder, Mila Kunis is trying to find her way back to her family. And she climbs up this ladder. What it looks like it's supposed to do is fall off the wall and get caught by cables that are attached to it. That's what it looks like it's supposed to do. But somehow their hydraulics to do that pause like halfway through the fall. So it like stutters weirdly. And then it doesn't look like it's falling out of control. You know what I mean?
It looks like a controlled fall.
It looks controlled. And I'm like, that's not what's supposed to be happening.
It literally looks like they built like a weird, like, good enough rig and then like didn't bother to like
refilm that.
not even like refilm it. They didn't bother to like hide the fact that it was meant to do this motion.
I think it was CG, which kind of makes it more egregious because they could have just gone in and made it not look like that.
Yeah.
True.
So that bothered the shit out of me. And Kane extracts the family after defeating the dragon in probably the coolest way possible is he uses his weird little teleportation doorway, puts it in the floor, the dragon falls through it, and then he closes it on the dragon's neck and kills him.
Which is probably the coolest scene in the whole movie.
Yeah, that's the only cool thing that happens.
Right?
Well, this whole
It's a much better use of the portal than the time that he used the portal on a door instead of opening the door.
Oh yeah, definitely. It's a pretty inventive last like 15-20 minutes of movie, admittedly. Like
I feel like they came up with that part first and then had to like
Build
yeah.
build a movie
How do
up
we
to
get
it.
to a planet blowing up with a factory falling apart with like heroes doing really cool looking shit as they're trying to escape? Well, shit, we need stuff before that. Let's like probing aliens and like incestuous relationships and a dude who whispers and then doesn't whisper.
Go! So then Eddie Redmayne and Mila Kunis get in a fight, and Mila ends up with the pipe and starts beating Eddie Redmayne with it.
Which Eddie Redmayne acts like he's a great actor for that one because he like
He's such a little bitch in that
he
scene.
sells getting hit.
And then he's like, you wanted me to kill you. You begged for it. And she was like, I'm not your mother. And then throws the pipe off and like doesn't finish off Eddie Redmayne.
No, because the building does it for her.
The scenery fucking kills him, so it's like she didn't even have to do it.
You've heard of actors chewing the scenery. Now get ready for the scenery chewing the actors.
So then Mila Kunis also falls off in ragdolls.
Again.
And Kane catches her again.
Like midair. It's
And
terrible.
Then they put on...
the like spacesuits.
They put on the spacesuits.
The weird like spacesuit shield thing.
He power boots his way to try to get to the ship.
Which is when he does the stupid arm thing. And I'm like, are you like power skating or something?
Yeah, he's like cross-country skiing his way to the ship.
Most of the time he looks like he's doing the like, you know, the jump where like they like squat really weird and they like ski down the slope and do the jump.
Yeah.
Most of the time when he's booting, he looks like he's doing that. This time he looks like he's speed skating.
Yeah, so he's like speed skating his way to the ship, and the ship is trying to give him as much time as possible, and they're opening a portal so they can get out of the falling apart planet.
Which I think is supposed to be Jupiter. Which means, did they blow up Jupiter?
Probably.
Jupiter no longer exists.
They'll get a
new.
But it's a great... I actually really like that last set piece. Like, and it's Wachowskis. They're one of the most important filmmakers in the last, like, 20 years. So they managed to look the planet falling apart and just, like, making all the orchestration swell. Like, there's all these elements that make that last little bit really fucking cool.
The planet falling apart does look really
cool. It
cool.
looks and feels really good. And then, you know, they'll like occasionally goof it by like...
That's where 90% of the budget was.
Yeah. And like, I remember as the ship is getting ready to take off, they like lose a single window and a single dude who nobody gives a shit about. He just gets sucked down and everyone's like, are we all here? Yeah, we're all here.
Like one guy's gone.
Fuck him in particular.
I think they even say something about how like everybody survived.
And it's like, what about that one guy?
Nobody says
Oh,
anything
Dog
about the
Boy
one guy.
and Bee Lady, they're alive. Woo!
Oh yeah, so like they end up close enough to the ship that they get pulled into the portal so that you think they've died and got left behind, but actually they're like, we're pinging Mr. Wise. And she goes, Wise, where are you? And he goes, look outside, I'm right behind you. And then they bring them into the ship.
It's so dumb, I love it.
It's a really goofy shot because the Earth is like right fucking there, like a screensaver.
Right?
And then they, you know, fast forward to Jupiter back in her old life, even though she owns the Earth now.
With her cousins.
With her cousins and her mom and her aunt.
Sitting around the table like nothing ever happened.
And like...
Did they fix the apartment? How did she fix up the apartment before they got back?
I have no idea.
Because that thing was destroyed.
Yeah, so somehow they fix up the apartment.
Well, at the beginning of the movie, they have like that algorithm that rebuilds the city after they fucking level half of it, like it's a fucking DC superhero movie.
But can they afford that as like...
Yeah.
Well, she can. She's a royal.
Yeah.
That's true.
She's got a blue thingy under her wrist.
She has the weirdest UV tattoo.
The weirdest.
And then, so she's all happy with her life now that she knows more about what goes on outside.
Even though she's still cleaning toilets.
Even though she's still cleaning toilets, she still prefers that, I guess.
It's such a like female young adult power fantasy
That's
to be like Cinderella, but also a queen at the same time.
That's the job I would choose if I never had to actually work. You know?
And then her and Kane end up dating because they kissed during the factory falling apart section. I kind of left that out.
It's dumb.
It's dumb.
And then it's revealed that he gets his wings back.
Yeah,
And the wings bother me.
I know.
Because there's no actual structure to them, and there's no way they would generate any sort of lift or hold.
Teacher question.
Yes?
Dog Boy.
That doesn't make any sense either, but right now I'm bothered about the wings.
These wings are too small.
Well, it's not even that they're too small, it's that they're so paper thin, and they're so flimsy.
Nanomachines.
No.
Stark Tech.
This is not Stark.
Wingardium Leviosa.
It's not magic.
Leviosa.
This is supposed to be science, and it's not science.
It's high fantasy. It's science fantasy like Star Wars.
So they're just gonna make up their own
Yes,
rules of
it's
physics?
their movie.
Yes.
They're gonna make their own laws of physics.
You know
Yes.
what? Fuck it.
No.
Fuck
Yes.
it. It's a masterpiece now. I don't care. It's the greatest
No.
movie ever. It's the best movie. Well done, guys. We did it. We
No.
did it. Movie's over. Fuck you.
I'm very mad about these wings.
Okay, so overall, Wobbles, did you enjoy the
No.
Good night, everybody.
movie? Wobbles did not like the movie.
Why would you ask me this question?
Wobbles, you know.
All right, overall, Lanooski, did you like the movie?
I actually like having watched it 2.5 times. I'm a fan. I adore it. It's bad. It's a bad movie. There's a lot of like weird like isms in it, but it also has a lot of unique qualities and character. And part of me is disappointed that it didn't become the franchise that they clearly wanted it to be.
Right? I would love more of this.
Yeah, like build that world up a little bit more and maybe you just get...
I feel like if they split it into like 3 different movies, so
There was
they
a lot
could,
going on, yeah.
so they could elaborate a little bit more on things, maybe it would be good because then they could like put a little bit more detail in there, explain things a little bit better, and maybe have a better budget.
And not have 2 climaxes in the last like third of the movie.
Right?
Yeah, I am firmly in the camp of it's so bad it's good.
Yeah, same.
I'm in the camp of don't make me watch that again, please.
Oh, Wobbs, you have no idea what else we could make you watch.
Oh,
no.
See, I can watch movies that are so terrible that they're good, but like not when it's science fiction. For some reason, science fiction does not get a pass from
Well,
me.
like I don't know, fam. Like it's a 2-word genre. The first one's science, which I know both of y'all are like really in love with for some reason.
Science
However,
is dope.
I agree, but the second word is fiction, which is rooted
You
in the
can-
Latin word fiction,
You
which
can-
means not real. Or if you go to their Greek original
You can write
fiction.
fiction. You can write fiction that still it makes sense because it adheres to the laws
It
of
is very-
physics and
Yeah.
nature.
I like verisimilitude as well. Anyway, watch Star Wars.
Watch Star Wars. That's what we've got at the end of this. Watch Star Wars. All right. This has been a special production. Thank you so much for 20 subscribers. We're so blessed. We love our really small amount of fans. You all are great. Each and every one of you.
2 of which might actually be watching this, and the rest of you have already forgotten about us.
Yep.
I've forgotten about us, and I'm talking right now.
What are we filming?
And as always, we're sorry.
I'm not even a little bit this time.
No. I don't know why we always say we're sorry when none of us actually are.
And on that, that's a perfect cap for a milestone.